Hello everyone and welcome to another One Piece chapter review. We start off the chapter with Mondior, who I happen to think will be a future opponent for Usopp. Because not only do they look alike, but they both have the whole fable story theme to their character in a way. Usopp loves to tell stories, Mondior controls books, brings them to life in some way. But anyway, he's having like a wine and cheese tasting fest with some mice. I mean, just seeing that cover page reminded me of this book right here, The Tale of Despero. One of the first things I noticed was the difference in the expression of Yasu in the flashback versus him in the present. You could tell, like in the flashback, he looks a lot like Raizo, actually. Like his facial features resemble Raizo's. But he's getting angry at Odin. He's even punching him. So that was back in the day when he could showcase anger, and not anymore. So it just goes to show you the extreme side effects of the smile production, that's how he looked before, and now after, like, he looks more like a goof, but before he had like more rigid facial features. So the side effects of producing those smile artificial devil fruits just completely deformed his face. There's also a samurai in the first page of the chapter who's lifting up his katana, and he has the same pattern on his outfit that Koshido has, the two swords crossed out or crossed. And so again, if Oda makes it quite clear, it's confirmed at this point. Koshido is from Wano. At that point in the flashback, the borders were fully closed because it's before Odin leaves Wano. So it's not like they were having like imports. They weren't importing outfits or anything like that into Wano. And speaking of exports and imports, we start off in Hakumy. The chapter in the flashback starts off in Hakumy, which is the only harbor that Wano has. So this is, I'm assuming, currently it's the place where weapons come in and out. And there's a structure with some dolphins at the top. It's a castle with some dolphins at the top, and that's a reference to Japanese architecture. The decoration is supposed to be considered like guardian angels, to sort of wear off evil spirits. And there's a very famous castle called Himeji. It's in Japan, and so I don't know if that drawing is supposed to be a reference to that castle. I still don't know why Oda decides to hide Odin's design. It's not like we know him, or I don't know, maybe there's something about his identity that he wants to keep a secret, but he's a silhouette. He's a silhouette in the flashback. I don't know why. I wish he weren't. I think this would be this could have been a good chapter to just, showcase the design, but whatever. The most important thing narratively from the flashback, though, I think, is that according to Odin, Yasu was so prominent, he was so important back in the day in Wano that apparently there were rumors that he was going to be the next shogun. Anyway, we find out that Odin's father was called Kozuki, and much like Odin, sukiyaki is also a Japanese dish. Yasu makes a reference to Odin being a dish in this chapter as well, during his final words to Orochi. So yeah, like father, like son. They were both named after Japanese dishes. Turns out that Yasu is not the Witching Hour boy, so the identity of that character is still a mystery to us. And you can see Panda Man on page 5, in the panel where Yasu says, when he apologizes for lying, you see the backside of Panda Man there. He's always in the crowds. Always look out for Panda Man in the crowds. Drake and Hawkins are there, currently being employed as crowd control officers or something like that. The people of Ibizu Town start rushing in to hear Master Yasu's final words, and he starts bad-mouthing Orochi. The best part of Yasu's speech is that it gives the Straw Hats full-blown cover to proceed as planned. The plan keeps moving, everything. The train is on the track, same track it's always been. Because thanks to Yasu, thanks to his sacrifice, he just took the card. He said, this thing that you've been hearing about, the rebellion, this alliance, rising up against Kaido and the Shogun. Well, I got news for you folks. It's just a prank, bro. It's just a prank that I made up. Chill, dog, chill. Now there's a panel where Inuarashi and Kinemon arrive riding these firebirds, these fire roosters, and they arrive right at the place where Shutenmaru is. And if you notice, Shutenmaru, he was making his way to hold them. He was going to sneak up on him, hold him up. But before that, he actually tells his subordinates, wait, hold on. I want to listen to this. I want to listen to the speech. So hopefully Yasu's speech, wakes something up in Shutenmaru, so that he could turn back to Kinemon and say, okay, fine, I'll help you out because of Yasu. And Kinemon would be like, great, thank you. By the way, I may have burned your forest to try and manipulate you. Just as an FYI, We find out that there was actually a plot to overthrow Odin, which we actually kind of expected, some kind of a coup from Orochi and Kaido. Because Kaido was undefeatable, Yasu started hiding in Ibizu town. That part is true. And we get this internal monologue from him describing the plays, or, the things that he set in motion before being caught, I guess. And one of them is that he changed the rendezvous point. So the allies, the people with the crescent moon tattoo, have a different rendezvous point. And I happen to think that the new rendezvous point should be in Hakumy, which is the place that opens up this chapter where we see Yasu kind of commanding, according to him, the strongest samurais in Wano. We get to see Big Mom briefly and find out that she still has not reached the prison mine, one of the prison mines in Udon, and we assume that she's headed towards the prison that Luffy is being kept in, but who knows, it could be another one. Toko rushes in, and Yasu is in fact executed. It appears that he's dead because he falls out of the platform cross, just, face first to the ground. So, it's one of those rare occasions where Oda actually decides to, kill a character in the story that's not in the flashback, or that's not Ace or Whitebeard. So this death has to mean something, because Oda doesn't do this very often. And so I thought it was a very good choice to focus in on Zoro's expressions or reaction to this whole thing. Just because, it makes sense, because if you remember, Zoro was the first Straw Hat to meet Yasu. So now it's like, I feel like this is going to give Zoro some investment, further his motivation into taking down the regime of Wano. I mean, there's a small panel of Brook there too, but Brook doesn't really know who Yasu is, so all he gets is question marks. Whereas Zoro, he actually got to spend time with Yasu. And then, I'm actually curious, does Hiyori / Komurasaki... I'm assuming, she must have had some kind of relationship with Yasu as well back in the day. I mean, I'm assuming that, given that Odin and Yasu were pretty close, that it would have occurred to Odin to say, oh, look, I have a new baby girl. Her name's Hiyori. If something ever happens to me, don't let her get into prostitution. Now, Yasu actually said that after Odin died, there were actually 4 daimyos in Wano. One of them was Yasu. I kind of wonder if we're going to find out who the other 3 were. Like I said, Yasu dies, and the people around the execution area, or at least the people from Ibizu town, are not capable of showcasing their sadness or their grief because of the effects of producing Smile Double Fruits. And what's interesting about that is that if you remember back in Punk Hazard, the machine inside of the lab that Law eventually destroyed, he cut it up along with Virgo. The machine had SAD written on it. So this substance called SAD was being used by Caesar Clown to produce these artificial double fruits. That's an interesting name, considering the fact that, the people from Ibizu town cannot show sadness. I mean, they're crying and stuff, but they have to smile. Now, the thing about this is that Caesar Clown created the SAD. He created this substance by using something called the Lineage Factor. Now, the Lineage Factor is something that was discovered by Judge and Vega Punk. And Judge used this Lineage Factor on the fetuses of his sons to alter them, to be able to mold them into soldiers. So, and it had the effect. It had the effect of removing emotions from Ichiji, Niji, and Yonji. Sanji was obviously the exception. And so this makes it clear that the Lineage Factor, which was used both by Judge and by Caesar Clown, Judge used it on creating the Vince Smokes, Caesar Clown used it on creating the Smiley. It becomes clear that using the Lineage Factor in experimentation to create new things involves the loss of human emotion to some extent. Also, according to a quote from Yonji, he considers the Lineage Factor to be the blueprints of life itself, which actually explains why the Smiley, or the artificial devil fruits, are only for Zoans. They're only artificial Zoans because Zoans are the only, they're animals, so they're alive. Paramecias aren't alive, Logias aren't alive, so only the Zoans fit into the category of being alive. Therefore, it makes sense why Caesar can only create those types of artificial devil fruits. Now that I think about it, it makes sense why Orochi was asking the Cypher Pole agents for Vega Punk. In fact, now that I think about it, there are some hints about the possibility of us seeing Vega Punk soon, because not only do we know that Smoker and Tashigi took the kids from Punk Hazard
so that Vega Punk could undo the side effects of the candy, of the drug that the kids were addicted to, right? Because they became giants because of the drug. So Vega Punk has to, undo that. I think this chapter sets it up so that maybe Vega Punk, either he comes to Wano via the CP agents, or these people of Ibizu Town have to be taken to Vega Punk. I mean, I just don't see any other way of undoing the sort of smiley face side effect that these people have experienced and are suffering because of it, because they can't even mourn their loss. It's like, and Zoro was really upset about this. So that's good because it adds more motivation and engages his character more in the arc. And we can follow that through his plot line, whatever that turns out to be. Overall, because Yasu was a newly introduced character into the arc, and then Oda decided to kill him off, I think Oda did try his best to try and get us to care about him as a character. Get us to feel something from his death. And it was a sad scenario. So given the short amount of time that we had to know Yasu, I think the writing in this chapter was pretty solid, given the fact that he was a character that was just going to be short-lived, So yeah, that's pretty much it. It was a solid chapter. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you did. I appreciate that. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already for more One Piece reviews. Catch you guys later. Take care. Bye.